What are you laughing about? About my disguise? It's winter time. Now in winter time, it's very cold. We have snow on the mountains here.
Yes.
Yes.
So you can...
So now I can wear my hat again to make it clear.
Wonderful. To make it clear that it's winter, or to make it clear that you are a shaman?
No, I try to figure that out. I don't know.
Okay, maybe...
Something should be clear, right? I don't know what.
By reading, you mean, will become clearer, or with life?
Well, with everything, with the feeling in life. I don't know. So start reading and then maybe we find out something.
Yeah.
Where are we now?
We last read the chapter where you...
Just for them to know, these things that are showing up suddenly, the hearts or the firework, we don't do that.
I switched them off actually just now.
Okay. Because for me it's very funny to see this.
I will switch them
you
back
say
on.
something, then boom, the heart comes up. But we don't do that. It's the thing, doing it alone.
Yeah, we're not doing any editing. We press record, and we press stop. That's it, no?
No, where are we now?
So last week we read the chapter where you, for the very first time, realized that through you people can come back out of a coma.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. And you tried to find the flower shop, which did not seem to exist, or exist in a different dimension or a different time. And finally you went home.
Or maybe, I mean, you never can be sure. Maybe I was so far out. I mean, I went with another person, and apparently there was no flower shop. There was not something that was closed and written flowers here. Yeah, but also you could go into a different perception, and the flower shop is there, but you cannot perceive it.
Yeah.
No? So the dog is there or not?
Hi, Floki. Hi, Danka. ¿Qué pasa? Yes, they just came back from a walk. Okay, we start reading?
Yes.
Okay. If you could settle down too, you would like to listen to us reading the book a little bit? You can't pass. Okay. What now?
Come here. Up.
Okay. So, this new chapter that we are starting is called Back Home.
That's the big question, where is home? So
Yeah. Danka, can you stop that, please? Lifted Up by Angels, no? It's a song. You can write Lifted Up by Tanka song.
something will happen.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good. Yes, good. So, back home. The reason for living in this old watermill was the proximity to the tomb of Saint Fatima in Olvera, a village about 15 kilometers from the watermill. When we first came to Olvera, we went to a jewelry store. We looked around the store, and the owner showed us various rings, bangles, and earrings. Among the earrings, there was a model made of silver and also gold, which had a lock hanging on a small ring for one ear and a key for the other. When we asked about the meaning of these strange earrings, the owner told the story of a stranger who came to the village a long time ago. Nobody knew the man or knew where he came from. He was a strange and peculiar person and started making these earrings. He taught someone the art of making this jewelry and disappeared unseen just as he appeared. These earrings became the symbol of the small village, and people traveling anywhere in the world could identify themselves as Olvera residents. How beautiful. These earrings are only for the residents of Olvera, only for those who belong to the village, the owner told us. And then he asked how many of the earrings we wanted to buy. We looked at him in amazement and bought several pairs. So he recognized you as
Later,
belonging?
my master, when I told him that we were planning to move, that was in the beginning when we found the village, and that we were planning to move there because of Saint Fatima. And he looked at me and said, yeah, but for that you need the permission of Lady Fatima. You cannot decide I move there. If you want something from her, she has to give you permission. And then I told him several stories that had happened in the village with us. And he said, yeah, it's okay, you have the permission already. So on the, how you say that, this writing of the village,
The sign where
the
the
sign,
name
where
sign of
no?
the village.
It's written Olvera, and then under it, it's written, peace comes out of me. So maybe that thing, the lock and the key, is you want to open that, you want to go in, we have the key and the lock. So if you want, you can come close here and you will get the key and you can open that lock. Well, that could be the meaning of these earrings. And I mean, it was very, the guy said, so how many pairs of earrings you want? Just before he said, no, you have to be from the village. It's only for the people from the village. So we were already considered by the grace of Fatima as people of that village.
Yes. Now we often went to the cemetery to sit and meditate. The first time we were there during the day, some women who were cleaning the cemetery came up to us and greeted us with the words, "Here again, we wish you a pleasant day." We had never been to that cemetery during the day before, and on the night of our first visit there was no one on the street, let alone in the cemetery.
So what is that, no? We were sitting there making our exercises in a little corner for not to disturb no one. And they came by brushing. And said, oh, nice to meet you again. Welcome here. Have a good day.
And it's not like you look like the everyday Spanish person.
Maybe not.
We were now in the process of renovating the house and recovering the roof. Martin had come to help.
Oh, poor Martin.
Unfortunately, he fell from the roof onto scaffolding. There was a wound on his right leg and something had happened to his arm. I took him to the doctor in the village, a young friendly man. He treated the wound on the leg and examined the arm. He asked Martin to touch his right upper arm. It doesn't hurt, it's still too fresh. The pain comes later. Do you feel that the arm is broken twice? I can't cover that here. If it were one fracture, we could heal this, but 2 fractures require an X-ray and the arm needs to be straightened. Then he asked me to touch the arm. It was an uncomfortable feeling, as if his upper arm was made of rubber.
I mean, this part of the arm, it's completely stiff.
Yes.
No? And you touched it and it was going blah, blah, blah. That was really uncomfortable. I remember he took my hand, he took me here to touch him, and I didn't want. Touch him. That you see, it's not that I don't want to work. I cannot do that here because it's too time broken and you have to go to the hospital.
So we made our way to the hospital in Ronda, and during the drive I recited my mantras to help Martin. At the hospital they wanted to know what had happened to Martin, so we showed the wound and explained that the right upper arm had 2 fractures. An X-ray was taken, and the doctor then informed us that Martin's arm was completely healthy and intact. No break, not 1, not 2 breaks. So what is that?
So when I was a small child, the only thing I wanted to see was things you cannot explain. No? I've seen everything.
You get it. You ask and you
I
shall
ask and
receive.
take care what you ask for, because you might be given everything. So.
All our children went to school in the nearby village, and we became friends with Gregorio, the director. One day, Gregorio came to the mill to visit. He told us the story of a teacher at his school who was pregnant. The doctors had advised her...
It was a woman.
It was a woman who was pregnant.
You have to say that in these modern times. I mean, it was a woman who was pregnant. Okay.
The doctors had advised her to abort the child because, according to their examination, it was underdeveloped and damaged. He asked me for help, and we agreed that he would visit me again with this woman. They came and then we invited them to tea. After a while, I said to the woman, "Don't worry, the child is completely healthy and you can give birth to it with peace of mind." However, I did not want to take responsibility for this decision alone and suggested asking Don Carlos for his opinion. They called the healer from my house, and he confirmed that the doctors were wrong and that she could give birth to the child without any problems. Years later, Gregorio...
Look, that is a big responsibility. You have really to believe that what you say, what is coming to you, is true.
I was going to ask when paragraph ends about that, because
No.
this is what we talked about last week, right? We hear and we obey.
We hear and we obey, but and if that is not true, then the child is there and the mother has a problem, the child has a problem, everyone has a problem, and you were the person who said, you said that based on nothing, based on intuition.
Yeah.
The
Believe.
thought comes to you and you look at the woman and say, "Don't worry, everything is fine." Like I said to the woman in the hospital, "Don't worry, waiting for the operation." Like I said to that little child who had the accident, to the parents, "Don't worry, nothing has happened to the child." And it was always true. Yeah, but to be so sure about that, to be able...
You were
I
sure
told-
in those moments, but you didn't.
Yes,
But
of
you
course,
said,
no,
let's
no.
ask Don Carlos anyway.
Yeah.
To be double sure.
Double sure. No, then, as I told you, the dream of this night, no, the name, no?
Yeah.
That means brave soul, no?
Yeah.
A name that came for me. Yeah, you need to be brave. To say, no, that's it. That's it. And I take the risk. If it goes wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Years later, Gregorio visited us in Granada and asked me, "Do you remember the pregnant teacher who was advised to abort the child?" Of course I remembered her. "It's a boy who goes to my school now. He jumps from one class to another, an incredibly gifted child." Jumps from one class to another, meaning he's jumping ahead.
Yeah.
Yes. Crazy, right? What doctor... Also the responsibilities of the doctors, for that matter, no? They advised her to abort the child.
But they will never
But
find
that
out.
was...
The child will go and that's it.
Yeah.
And they were right,
Yeah.
apparently, because maybe the child was not damaged on the outside, but they can say, well, the heart or the brain or whatever. So they can deal with it. And they even themselves can believe that they were right. They were absolutely not right.
The tests might be showing them what...
No, maybe it will never come out, and they are fine with it. But if you say the child is healthy, and it comes out it is not, problem for you.
Yeah. In Istanbul, we had met Kamil, a blind man from eastern Turkey. He had lost his sight at the age of 4 due to an illness. His parents died when he was 7, and from that moment on he lived in a small room that was made available to him in a mosque. At the age of 9, he knew the Quran by heart and decided to travel to Istanbul because there was nothing left for him to learn in his hometown. Kamil made a large doll that he placed in his bed and covered it. He then took a beam and dropped it against the door while he left the room. So it wasn't easy to find out that it wasn't him but the doll that was in bed. Kamil walked to a neighboring village and told the mayor there about his father, who was supposedly in the hospital in Istanbul. Because he was blind, some men had stopped and robbed him.
That's what he told.
Kamil asked the mayor to lend him the money for his trip and promised to pay it back as soon as he could. He received his money and came to Istanbul, where he lived on the streets for several years. In winter, when it was cold, Kamil often went to one of the countless tea houses to spend the night warm with a cup of tea. He was used to sitting in silence as he listened to the conversation at the next tables. Metin Baba often gathered there with his dervishes, and every time Kamil went to pay for his tea, he was told that the Baba had already paid for him. A competition was held to fill the position of prayer caller in one of Istanbul's largest mosques. Kamil won the place. One of the next days he met Metin Baba, and the Baba asked him, "Did you win alone, or did somebody help you?" Kamil used his first wages to pay off his debts to the mayor. Kamil was an excellent musician and ney player. Ney is a flute.
Bamboo flute. Sufi bamboo flute.
At the Beyazid Mosque,
That's the name of the mosque, Beyazid.
where he worked, visitors from all over the world often came at night to play music and recite mantras with him inside the mosque. Kamil, like me, became Kemal Baba's student and later a Baba himself. A young woman from Brazil had come to visit the Dergah, and Kemal Baba had interpreted one of her dreams as follows.
In the mosque, they have all these lamps that before were filled with oil and oil lamps, no?
Yes.
Like little cylinders hanging there. But now nowadays it's all made with electricity. And if there was something wrong with electricity, he would go, being blind, to arrange that.
Wow.
What is that? When he went on a journey, he entered the bus, he always said to the driver, "No, but I would want to sit next to the window because I'm traveling to see the world."
And humor too, huh? So, a young woman from Brazil had come to visit the Dergah, and Kemal Baba had interpreted one of her dreams as follows. "You will soon marry a very important man." Andrea, that was her name, worked as a secretary for the richest bank in the world and was usually traveling all year round around the world. She owned a huge house in Sao Paulo with several maids. An important man for her would have been someone like the President of the United States.
That's what she said to me. She told me later, no?
She was introduced to Kamil Baba as being this very important man, and against all reason, she accepted him as her husband.
That blind guy. This lady.
Is that what you call blind
high-heeled
faith?
shoes, this sticker here with her name coming from I don't know, from Belgium, from Brussels.
Conferences.
Yeah, she said, okay, that's what it has to be.
Hi, Tanka.
And she was not a dervish, she was just a visitor.
She only came as a visitor.
She came as a visitor and told the dreams. And the master said, that is the meaning of the dream. And she accepted. And then she became a dervish, a student, but she was not in that moment.
Blind faith.
Blind faith, yeah.
Both of them went to Brazil. Kamil, the blind man, always asked for a seat at the window when he traveled, because as he said, he wanted to see the world. It was carnival in Sao Paulo when they arrived, and Kamil told his wife that he wanted to watch the spectacle. She didn't have time, and he couldn't go alone, since he didn't know the city or his new home. But he went, and came home alone. When she asked the taxi driver how he found home, the man said, "Your husband didn't know the address, but he showed me the way, saying now left and now right, until we finally got here."
What?
Following the intuition. I
It
suppose.
comes to him, no left,
Yeah.
no right, and he brings it out, and the taxi stopped just in front of the house, and she had to pay because he had no money.
Camille came to visit us in Spain, accompanied by a young bald man from Brazil, Oscar, who served as his bodyguard. Bodyguard?
Yeah, for not to let him travel alone. I mean,
Like a...
the companion and also protector. No, I
Yes.
mean to go with that was big guy, no hair, strong man. Maybe the wife suggested to him, do that. Don't go alone. Traveling everywhere, go with someone. No?
Yeah.
Could be.
This man had no hair on his head, but there were small tufts of hair sticking out of both ears.
Look, they were coming out like that, hanging. They were really funny.
Oscar worked in a library in Sao Paulo. One day a lady came in and asked him to recommend a book to her. Oscar gave her one of Rumi's many books of poems. The woman thanked him and left the store. Shortly afterwards she returned and looked at Oscar a little shyly. Please forgive my question. Can I tell you a dream? In that dream, I was instructed not to tell the dream to anyone other than a man who has no hair on his head, but tufts of hair coming out of his ears. And I think that you are that man. Oscar listened to the dream and gave the woman Kemal Baba's address in Istanbul. We drove to Ronda with Camille and Oscar. In Ronda,
You see how funny the creator can be? I mean, to do something like that. To send her that dream and then she's coming across that man, no?
Yes. We drove to Ronda with Camille and Oscar. In Ronda, a well-known stone bridge connects the two slopes of a deep valley through which a small river flows through the middle of the city. It's really something. It's really something. Go visit if you haven't been. Camille leaned over the stone balustrade and looked down. What, blind? 100 meters.
He made like that. Like smelling. When he said 100 meters or whatever he said, but it was just the height of that bridge.
It's 100 meters. As we approached the old Arab bath, Camille paused for a moment. It smells like home here. Smells of saint, he told us. The next year, Andrea, the Baba's wife, came to visit. She was returning from...
The thing is, maybe I forgot to write that because we went to visit a place and he said, that smells of home, it smells of saint. And it was just because apart from Lady Fatima, there's another saint. No, there's a saint buried in Ronda. And it was just where this saint is buried, where he said that, oh, it smells of home, it smells of saint.
It was in the previous chapter, the chamomile man. No?
Okay.
So we're talking,
okay.
it's this
okay.
person. Yeah, but maybe the connection could be made.
No, okay, it's okay. If I said it before, then it's fine.
Where one of your disciples, you did your little ceremony, and then she saw the writing, and even when she opened her eyes, she could still see the writing. Yeah. Go back a couple of chapters if you haven't.
If you have to.
The next year, Andrea, the Baba's wife, came to visit. She was returning from Brussels, where she had attended an international conference. There she stood in the middle of our yard with her high-heeled shoes, her name tag still on her chest, and a briefcase. I suggested that I accompany her to the village, as there was a pretty good hotel there. I didn't come here to stay in a hotel, but with you, was her answer. The only place we could offer her to sleep at that moment was a tent that was set up in the run of our chicken coop. She preferred the chicken coop to the hotel, and stayed for 2 weeks. Yes, she stayed for 2 weeks. ¿Qué pasa, Floki? Huh? Shortly before the end of her visit, we drove with her to Olvera to visit the tomb of Saint Fatima. We went to the cemetery and had our mini-ceremony. Afterwards, we drove higher into the mountains to have dinner in a small restaurant. What? We sat down at a round table on the terrace and ordered the drinks and then the food. Andrea didn't say a word. Instead, she started laughing uncontrollably, and from that moment on, it was impossible to have a sensible word with her. The next day, she asked me if she could wash and clean our car. She was allowed to and occupied herself with this task for the next 3 days. The car certainly wasn't very clean, but it wasn't that dirty either. Andrea only came into the kitchen to eat and didn't say a word to anyone, not even with the children. A couple who were friends picked her up on the last day to accompany her to the airport. Even when she said goodbye, Andrea didn't say a word. Our friends later told us that on the drive to the airport, Andrea had asked them to apologize for her behavior over the last few days. She told them this: I had an iron ring around my heart. This ring suddenly popped open during the visit of Saint Fatima. And from that moment on, I wasn't sure what was happening to me. And I couldn't control my thoughts. Because I didn't want to make a mistake and was afraid I might say things I would later regret, I thought it would be better not to talk. Please tell them that I will be grateful for this experience for the rest of my life. Fatima.
Fatima. You go alone? No. But that can happen. I mean, you just go there, you sit there for a moment reciting some mantras, or maybe without reciting the mantras. You are just there, and suddenly you go into a completely different state.
Yeah. And then it depends if you believe what happens.
You can erase it from your mind. You say, oh wow, we're going there, maybe there was something in the air, or we ate something, and blah blah blah.
Some strange feeling in my chest, yeah.
No, she put it into nice words. She said there was an iron ring around my heart, and by going there, that broke off. And then I didn't know what was happening to me.
Not the light agrees we should be paying attention.
Fatima said, you will see what I can do.
Once again, we set off on our journey to Istanbul.
Otra vez?
This chapter is very long.
Very good.
Should we pause here?
If you
A little more?
You what?
We'll just pause and record another one.
That's it.
That's it, no?
We stop here now.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you switch it off, Loki? No?
We just say goodbye, no?
Yes.
Until the next chapter.
Hasta luego.